First of all, you look good, dude. You had an off-season workout program?
Yeah, it was doing well. These last couple of days have been tough. The owners' meetings coming down here and seeing a bunch of people and having to go out to dinner and everything. But before that, I was working on getting in shape.
Is this your normal off-season that you get in shape and then you just grind it through the season and then go back to it?
It's pretty good. Now it's not bad. You have some time that you can spend some time for yourself, that you don't feel like you're taken away from game plan, where you got that game coming on Sunday. And then for us, we've gotten a lot of work done now, and then we're preparing after the owners' meetings. We'll take a couple of days. The coaches are off, but then we come back, we'll be in a grind from a standpoint of getting ourselves ready for the draft, doing those reports and meetings, and then getting ready for the players to come back in, being ready for our different phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and then have everything ready. And then at the end, obviously you have a draft, then you have the rookie minicamp, and then, at the end of the year, just making sure that we're prepped for the preseason, getting that going.
Give me a 30,000-foot view on what you think this team looks like now, with the changes that have been made, the additions, and some of the losses.
I think it's tough. I think it's, obviously everyone wants to know who you are right away, and everyone, obviously, we want to be a team that obviously, can win the battle up front, the physical battle. We've talked about that from day one since we've come in. We want to be able to win the turnover battle. We want to find a way to get into this game into the fourth quarter and find a way situationally to win. That's what we want to do. We feel very comfortable. Obviously, we can go out there today and field a team. It's not like someone can say, well, they don't have a whatever position it is, they have to do something or do that. We can go out there right now and field a team that on paper is a pretty good football team, and that's what I always say at this time of year. You look at the football team and say, hey, on paper, these guys look like this, or these guys could be this. But it's the same thing. If you don't put the work in and you don't work extremely hard, and that's why when I get up and I say, hey, listen, we've got to get back to work when the players come back in. We have a long way to go. People look at you, oh, you're fine. Well, you don't know that. And I think if you take those things for granted and you go out there, and thinking that you're going to start where you left off, I think that's a recipe for failure. So for me, hey, we're going to go back to the beginning. We understand that we have to work hard. When you talk to our players at the end of last year, they've all referenced back to the training camp, how hard the training camp was. We've got to remember that, anything that we would like to get out of the 2018 team is going to come from us being able to put in the work. That's going to give us an opportunity. Then we're going to have to go out there and perform.
Now, you've talked about that since right after the New England game. That
yeah.
There's nothing that carries over. You have to start from step one and start building your way through that. That being said, you've got guys who have at least been through it now with this coaching staff, with each other, a lot of them. So how much does that help, even with some of the roster turnover that you invariably have?
For me, I think realistically, when you go into the situation and I say to myself, well, hey, listen, we do have a lot of players returning. We have a lot of players that have gone through our training camp, a lot of players that have gone through, our practice schedule, what we've done. Are we going to make any changes? Well, we're going to try to get better. So we will make some changes. They'll be very subtle in what we do. But at the end of the day, if I sit there and say, well, I go, okay, we have some guys that are going to be able to take us through it or hold the culture or bring the culture to another level, am I going to miss something? Are the coaches going to miss something? Are we not going to hold each other as accountable because we're assuming that, hey, listen, we all know what our roles are and what our responsibilities are? I think that, again, if something cracks a little bit, it's not like you can go back to the beginning of OTAs or the beginning of the preseason and say, all right, we got to fix this now before we go forward, because sometimes when you realize what's broken during the season, you don't have the time to go back and fix it. So I never wanted to be that person that take things for granted. I always wanted to be on my toes and make sure that we're always looking at things. No different for me. I want to make sure when those players come back, they make myself and the coaches accountable. That's a big part of what we do. It's not just myself holding the players accountable. It's everyone in that building holding each other accountable.
One thing that Dave Caldwell said after the free agent signings was that the conversations he was having were much different this offseason as a result of the success you had last year. Moving forward from a coaching staff standpoint, are things different for you in terms of the way you interact with players because of the way that you had success? Did the success of last year change anything for you going forward?
It didn't change anything for me as far as, how I wake up each day. I wake up each day, and I think the coaches, we all wake up each day knowing that, we've got to prove that we deserve to be here. We don't take it for granted at all. We understand that this is a new year. We understand that, we have to get better. We know that we're going to have to, put a lot of work in. And we're just preparing ourselves and preparing the team for when they come back, for the work that we have ahead of us. I think that, people, are going to keep referencing, the 2017 football year, but that's over. Those are great memories. Those people need to keep those memories. Those memories need to be, for people like myself, the coaches and the players, hey, we put them in a box and put them away. One day we'll look at them because all of a sudden it's 2018, and what are you going to do for me now? And we've got to be able to go out there and play. So we understand that, and don't get me wrong. I think there may be some things that some people can take, but we're not going to take it for granted. We're going to build it the same way.